Over the years, the greens at the historic Colonial Country Club in Fort Worth, Texas had become a bit tired. Like any aging golf course, the shapes got a little bit more round. They created elevated targets that theoretically were going to make the golf course tougher for the best in the world, but in reality just made it harder for the members. So enhanced golf course design was brought in to do a full-scale historic renovation. The putting surfaces became one of the main areas of focus.
We noticed that the greens really sat very low to the ground. In an attempt to make the golf course more difficult, in one of the more recent renovations, I think the greens were lifted several feet in order to make them harder to hit. And tour players, they don't care if they miss in a bunker, whether the bunker is 2 feet deep or 4 feet deep. It really, as long as they get a good lie, they don't really care. But from a membership standpoint, those raised targets were more difficult to hit, and the golf course became less playable and less fun to play. So, the main thing is they're lower.
Gil and his team looked at a collection of old materials, including the club's 1941 U.S. Open program, for insight into how the greens used to look and play.
I love the green on 5 now. I think that green turned out really well, but it's again based on old photographs. So the contours are very similar. I think 15 green is one of my favorite complexes out there, and I think with the way the bunkering sits in now, the proximity to the creek, and then I think by cutting a little valley in front of that green and lowering the green significantly, it's going to be a completely different vision for them hitting into it. Like the green used to sit up and then it was kind of down to where the water was. So you saw the wall on the far side, but you didn't really see where the water was. Now with the green set at the same elevation as the water, you're looking over the green right into the water. So I think it's going to take a little bit more courage to go for those left-hand hole locations.
Most of the work at Colonial revolved around lowering the greens while retaining the existing contours. But others, like the 7th, 8th, and 13th, required a little bit more work.
The greens that we totally rebuilt, 8, 13, had more historical context because we had the old photographs, so we could kind of determine what the greens were doing. So I think it would be interesting to watch. They're going to get a lot of the chatter, and I think in a good way. 7 is a brand new creation. The hole got a lot longer and the green's really tucked and pushed back. And the green is really wonderful. I think it's turned out really well, but when you're hitting a longer club and then you get out of position, you might have some putts that you wouldn't normally associate with Colonial, but I think that's okay. I really do. I think it's going to be fine.
So when players return to the new look Colonial Country Club for this year's Charles Schwab Challenge, they'll be faced with a fresh set of greens. Many of them should still feel familiar to the players, though, as green pads were lowered and contours were restored, allowing them to once again sit naturally on the ground that they were built on.